Hey guys, welcome everyone to Lansing Marketing Hackers. This is our presentation today on all things TikTok, Instagram Reels, short form video. We are so glad that you can join us today. I'm Julie Holton. I am the owner and founder of mConnexions Marketing Agency, also the host of Expert Connections on the ABC station here in Lansing. And so glad to see Paul, Chad, and Seth, you guys here today. How are you guys doing?
Good, Julie. Very good.
Well, let's do a quick round of introductions. Chad, why don't we start with you?
Great. Yeah, I'm Chad Munce. I am the digital sales manager for WLNS in Lansing and one of the founding members of the Lansing Marketing Hackers. And just really glad to be able to tap into our larger network, the Nexstar Media Group, which is the media group that owns WLNS, and some of the amazing resources we have that are executing, full board TikTok campaigns for national companies nationwide. And so we're able to tap that group for some good stuff. So I'm excited for that today.
And I'm Paul Schmidt. I'm the owner and creative video strategist for UnoDeuce Multimedia. We are a video storytelling agency that uses video to document why nonprofit organizations and socially responsible small businesses do what they do, how they make positive impacts on their community. And it's our office that's running this broadcast. And full disclosure, one of the panelists on today, I am one of the producers for. So yeah, I'm real excited to hear her story and hear everything else. Over to you, Seth.
Hey, I'm Seth Getz with Symposia Labs. We're a digital marketing and strategy organization. We're over in the Grand Rapids west side, but we absolutely love being part of this type of a group because of just how collaborative and how much good things you guys are doing here with this group. So anytime we can be involved in a group like this, we love it. Love meeting people like this. So thank you so much for having me here, and we love sponsoring this place.
Thanks, Seth. We love having Symposia as a sponsor, and frankly, all of us working in different facets of marketing. So there's some overlap even between our agencies. Others, we call each other up and say, "Hey, what do you know about this?" because we need some help on it. So really love being able to collaborate with this core group and also with all of you tuning in and watching. We're continuing our presentations and our events right now virtually. Maybe at some point we'll be able to get together again in person, but for now this has been a really great way for us to connect, and today in particular to tap into the national resources that Chad was mentioning from Nexstar Media Group. We have some incredible presenters today that really, Chad and Paul, as we were talking about this, and Seth, a lot of people are using TikTok and Instagram Reels. We know it's really popular, but we really wanted to tap into people who are doing it well and seeing success. So Chad immediately put us in touch with Nexstar. And Chad, I'm so excited for you to introduce our presenters today.
Awesome. Well, great. Yeah, we were able to get a couple of the folks who work on this every day. And to introduce to those folks, I wanted to throw it to my director of digital for Nexstar. He's a regional director for kind of like Michigan out east. And he takes care of all those markets. His name is Rocco Bernardoni. And Rocco is going to introduce our two speakers for this TikTok presentation. So Rocco, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad, and hello, Lansing marketing hackers. Thank you so much for hosting us. We'd love to get to present to you guys for a little bit of time today, and in particular, take you guys through some of the trends that we're seeing on both the regional and the national level with paid social video. So there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of conversation around TikTok as an emerging platform, along with Snapchat, of course, and YouTube and Instagram Reels. So all of these different platforms kind of have their own place in the ecosystem, which we'll touch on in just a little bit. But as we're kind of thinking about where this fits in the overall marketing strategy, keep in mind that our information today is going to be focused more on the paid usage and paid applications on those platforms. Beyond that, Chad did a great job of kind of making that connection between a local TV station that we own and operate out of Lansing with WLNS, and also the rest of our holding company, right? We are part of Nexstar Media Group, the nation's largest local media company, operating 196 stations from Honolulu, Hawaii, all the way over to Burlington, Vermont, and of course, everywhere in between. So with that, I'd like to also introduce the other members of our team. These are very talented resources. These are experts in the field, from everything from account planning to strategy to operations and execution on these paid social video platforms. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce here Alyssa and Laura, and they'll be taking us through the next couple of sessions.
Hey everyone. I think you guys can see my screen. Is that true?
Yes, I think you just have to put it into presentation mode, Alyssa.
It is. I don't know if it's muted on that end. Okay, let's just try resharing, shall we? All right, let's try again. It's not changing. Shoot. Okay, let me try one last thing. We're going to go like this. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry, everyone. It's my first time using this platform. My name is Alyssa Hum, and this is Laura. We are so excited to be here today to talk to you guys about TikTok. Just our pictures in case you can't see us. I am a Nexstar senior account lead, so I'm going to walk you guys through our deck today. You know, questions, I know we're going to have time for questions and all that kind of thing. So please ask them. That's why we're here. But we're going to walk through, I'm going to walk you through some TikTok and paid social, specifically paid, talking about how to use social and video, but specific to TikTok for your advertisements and for your advertising campaigns. And I have Laura with me because she is the absolute expert on all things social. So she will be here to help me answer any questions specific to the platforms. You know, obviously today is, you know, focused on TikTok and video, but if you have questions outside of that too, Laura is a jack of all trades. So we are here to present, so let's get into it. I wanted to start first with, and I always do, start with a few stats just on the overall industry in terms of social video. Obviously, social video is huge. It is really how people interact on social platforms, and we see it more and more every day. And so we'll start kind of outside of TikTok and look at a couple of platforms that are doing it really well. Obviously, your Facebook and Instagrams. But specifically with Facebook, we're seeing, you know, 70% of in-stream ads are viewed to completion. And, you know, I'm sure sitting here, all of us can remember times we've been scrolling through, we see a video, it happened to me this morning, and I just stopped and watched it. I even turned on the sound this morning, which was pretty rare for me. But lots of viewing with social platforms. Twitter is also seeing a ton, 1.2 billion video views per day. And this is a highly mobile focused platform. So 93% are actually coming from mobile devices. And then lastly with Snapchat, 14 billion video views across their stories and their Discover tab, and then through original content. So a lot of video views coming from the social industry as a whole. But today we're going to focus on TikTok, and we're going to talk about this platform. We're going to walk you through kind of what it looks like from a very high level, who's using it, how you can target ads, and then kind of walk through some of the ad formats. And then lastly, we will actually leave you guys with some creative tips on not only can you apply to, your organic or your own videos, but you could also apply to advertising as well. So we'll start with just the pure usage of TikTok. 50% of TikTokers are 24 and younger, so it is a very young platform. It's a great way to reach that generation. Depending on what, who your audience is and what you're trying to reach, TikTok can be a really great platform if your main audience falls within that 20, let's say 13 up to about 30 age. 81 minutes per day are spent on average on TikTok. That is a lot of time. People, as I talk to team members and even look at my own usage, you kind of get sucked in. It's video after video, and people spend a lot of time there. 40% of TikTok users are not on Facebook. So you're getting a good, when we're talking about like deduplication, it's a good platform to reach new users, especially if you have a strong Facebook presence and you kind of want to expand your audience and reach beyond that. You can reach new audiences with TikTok.
And Alyssa, I would just add, for a little bit of additional perspective, the average user spends 81 minutes on TikTok. For context, I was just looking this up. The average user spends around 40 minutes a day on Facebook. So I think that gives you some good perspective into just how much time TikTok users are spending on the platform every single day.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great context. So about double.
Yeah.
That's huge. Awesome. So a quick kind of walk through or tour through the platform if you've never signed into it. These are kind of some screenshots that you could expect to see if you created a TikTok account or if you're actively using it. You're going to see a home page. You're going to have a discovery page where you can discover new content. You're going to have your own video shooting page, notifications about your content, and then obviously your profile where all of your content is housed. So, I would say it's pretty similar to kind of maybe what you're used to with Instagram in terms of how things are organized, but pretty user-friendly, very, easy to shoot content and distribute it. So that can be really great for building a brand. We'll talk a little bit about how we can utilize the creative or your own organic videos to kind of help showcase your brand and tell people about who you are. I think short form video can be a really fun, unique way to introduce to audiences who you are and what you do. So there are quite a few different TikTok ad capabilities. The one we're going to focus on today is the second one, the in-feed video, because this is the one that really ties in much more closely with regional advertisers as opposed to the brand takeover, your hashtag challenge, the branded effect, and top view is very national focused. In fact, a lot of the targeting that can be done there from a geographic perspective is all at a national level, where in-feed video can actually help us drill down a little bit further in terms of the geography. So we do have DMA targeting capabilities. So that's really where we'll focus, is this in-feed video. So you're watching video content on TikTok. In between video content, you're going to see in-feed video advertisements. So that's the big piece we'll talk about today. You'll see these other ones within TikTok, but a lot of times we're talking about big national brands that are doing the takeovers or doing the hashtag challenges. And typically you'll see these be for quick, 2 to 7 day type of campaigns. They are definitely not considered like an always on or an awareness type of campaign. But Laura, do you have any other notes on any of these ad capabilities before we hop into in-feed video specifically?
I don't think so. I think you hit on all the main points. Really, the in-feed video is an advertiser's bread and butter, I would say, just in terms of usability, the different targeting tactics that are available to us. It's a lower barrier to entry in terms of cost. A lot of these more premium takeovers come with a more premium price tag. But other than that, I think you hit on everything.
Awesome. So a little bit deeper dive into the in-feed video. Like I mentioned, this is sponsored video ad unit that appears between user-generated content. So back to the example, you're watching a video, and then in between the view for your next video that you're watching, you're going to see a sponsored video ad. Very similar to how Instagram would work or Facebook. When you're watching those stories or reels, you're going to get sponsored ads in between those plays. You can direct users right to an advertiser's landing page with these. It could either be like a call to action or a click through, and you can go to the advertiser's TikTok page or app download or landing page, kind of whatever makes the most sense. Ideally, the video is under 15, or it has to be under 15 seconds, but ideally we're looking at like the 9 to 15 second range. And I think this is so fun because it gives you, we're not asking for a long drawn out explanation of who you are. It's not those 15 or 30 second ad spots. It's more of a way for you to interact with an audience, to give short, interesting updates and videos about who you are and what you can bring to the table as a brand. Cool. So ways that you can target advertising on TikTok. They do have interest and behavior targeting with 50 interest categories and subcategories. You can do demographics, so your typical audience targeting that you would think of with digital and with social. And then location, we are now able to target any DMA in the country. That is more recent. It used to be the most granular you could do is at the state level, but they're starting to drill down to smaller locations. So if you're an advertiser looking to reach an entire DMA or looking to reach a state, TikTok advertising could be a good option for you. But unfortunately, getting more granular than that, it's just not an option at this point. But like other social platforms, there's audience match. So through CRM, app and website activity and engagement audiences, and then using those audiences to find lookalikes or users with similar attributes to existing audiences that you have as an advertiser.
Yeah, and I would say that TikTok has really built out their targeting offering over the last year or so. Initially, it was just interests. Like Alyssa mentioned, we could only get as granular as the state level. So great to see that they're putting more resources into building out the functionality and what interests we have or what targeting we have available to us within the platform. Testing is always a really important component to any paid social campaign. So it's really great now that we have multiple options. So when my team is building out campaigns, we can set up a segment that is interest targeting users. We can set up a segment that is remarketing to users that have been to the website. And we can test those audiences within the campaign against one another to really find that sweet spot and determine from a performance perspective what's driving the strongest results, what's working best, and where can we optimize to continue to find users that are most likely to take the desired action.
Perfect. Yeah, I would say, one really positive thing about finding somebody who specializes in social is that full strategy mentality. And I think Laura, that explanation was perfect because it was helpful in illustrating how much strategy can go into social. And how much you can actually improve your ad campaigns by partnering with somebody who can execute a full social strategy on your behalf. So that's great. Couple best practices for you guys in terms of advertising or paid media. Definitely know your brand's voice. So, understand where your brand wants to sit on certain issues, if they want to be vocal about certain things, but definitely know kind of where you stand and how you want people to perceive your brand and you as an owner. Turn your comments off for TikTok advertising, as you cannot moderate them. So anything that's said, you're not going to be able to comment back or try and fix anything negative. So best practice here would just be to turn those off right off the bat. Ensure TikTok is the right platform to reach your audience. So since it does skew younger, ensuring that if that is the audience you are trying to reach, perfect. TikTok can be a great place to do it. But if that isn't your audience, then maybe TikTok might not be the right place to place that advertising. And I mean, it could hold true too for where you put your efforts in terms of organic. There are plenty of social platforms out there that cover off on some of the older demographics, which is great. So kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about TikTok for your overall social mix. Make certain that you have a budget that's going to make a needed impact. I think that's true for anything in advertising. Ensuring that you're investing enough and that you utilize guidelines and advice given to you by partners on what's going to make the biggest impact and difference so that your investment's not being wasted. And I would say also make sure that reporting and reporting metrics are kind of giving you insight to how your budget's being spent and how well your investment's performing. That's such a huge piece of it. If we're going to ask for the budget and we're going to have, a substantial investment into your brand, we want to make sure that we're showing you a return on that investment. So it's really important to understand the metrics that go into social and kind of what they mean for your business. And then master short form video. I think this is probably the hardest. It's really, we see a ton of video coming in always at like the 15, 30-second spots. And those are very typical of advertisements, specific as it comes from TV. But TikTok and a lot of social platforms are moving more towards short form video just because that's what people interact with and that's what people engage with most often. So getting yourself to kind of get away from long drawn out, descriptions of your business and think about it more as like a story. How can you tell short stories in a row? How can you create content that maybe when viewed together tells your full story? So think about how you can get creative with short form video. Cool. So a couple of creative tips. Leverage sound. So TikTok is a sound on experience. Making music and sound essential in your ads are going to make more people interact with them, as sound plays just a large part in those short form videos. But keep it short and direct. Get your point across. Get what you want to say out, and make it interesting as you can in that 9 seconds. Make sure that it's as engaging as you can. Ride the latest trends. So when you see something repeated over and over in some of the TikTok videos that you're seeing, maybe try and follow those trends, whether it be with effects or with editing or storylines. There's lots of cool things that you can do within the TikTok platform that can help kind of give a little oomph to your TikTok videos. Real and entertaining, and I think this is true of any type of video, but anytime you can make ads emotionally appealing but keeping it light and positive. That's what people are really there for, is for entertainment, to be kind of potentially distracted. I think we're all living in a really heavy time. So TikTok can be a really great escape. And so if you can kind of speak to that and kind of be part of that escape for someone's going to feel a lot more draw or connection with your brand.
And I would just add regarding, sorry, Alyssa. Regarding the sound, I think a really important distinction to make is that, for Facebook, we always say build for sound off, because we know that the majority of users are viewing Facebook with the sound off. They're not going to turn it on. So we always recommend, putting text overlays or using captions so that a user isn't relying on the sound to understand what the message is that we're trying to get across as advertisers. Whereas on TikTok, that's completely different. We have to use the sound, it's required. So I think that just speaks to understanding the different nuances of social channels. And while there is some overlap and some similarities between them, they do have some, distinct features and ways that users engage and behave on the platform. So I think that's always really important to take into account when you're coming up with a comprehensive social creative strategy that is going to be running across platforms.
Perfect. Great note. 4 last ones for you guys. Shoot natively. So make sure that the ads look authentic and they fit within user-generated content. So it's looking at that 9:16 kind of up and down vertical video view. That's always going to be the best route when you're looking at TikTok. And usually, I'm sure if you're running stuff or have, do a lot of reels or ads like that, or even just content, you're already shooting that way, but that's the best way to make your ads engaging and honestly user-friendly, is to shoot in that vertical format. Break the fourth wall. I always think of, like, my favorite show is The Office. So they do that constantly on the show, right? You're looking at the audience straight in the eye. You're speaking directly to the audience. Whether you're letting them in on a secret or speaking right to them, you can kind of figure out how you want that to go on your end, but definitely engage with the audience through the video content. You can overlay informative text. So you can include text overlays. You can work with effects or stickers, anything to kind of ensure that you're getting information out there that you want to get out there along with your video message. And that kind of ties into that strong call to action. This is important in any form of advertising. If you want somebody to do something with the message that you're giving, you need to tell them to do it. So that can either be like a call to action button or asking people to take action on something. It's really important to tell them what to do and then to make it easy for them to accomplish that after they see your message. So Laura, anything else you want to touch on with creative tips before we kick it back over to Julie?
I think the last thing I would just add around the strong call to action, I can't emphasize that enough. It's really important that the messaging is very clear, very concise. It's not confusing to a user what the desired action is that we want them to take. So I always say, keep your copy really short and sweet. If you're running on, TikTok, for example, with your video creative, make sure that the call to action is clearly stated in the video, whether it's with the sound or text overlays. But I think that is so important because a lot of times we see that if there isn't a clear call to action, users don't know what to do. And so they'll just keep scrolling. So I think it's really important for brands to be really clear and really concise with what they want a user to do.
Perfect. And that is what we have today, Julie.
Ladies, thank you so much. This was so helpful. I'm sure our audience has plenty of questions for you. So you're not off the hook just yet, but Alyssa and Laura, thank you so much for sharing your insights and walking us through all of this information on really, especially to be, using the platforms. We always say, you can't play the game if you don't know the rules. So the first step is to know what you're doing on each of these platforms. Before we launch into Q&A, I would like to introduce our panelists for you today. today. We have 3 panelists who are joining us, three more women actually from the greater Lansing area who are all using TikTok or Instagram Reels in different ways. And so we have invited them to come on with us and to kind of take what Laura and Alyssa have been talking about and tell us how they've been putting it into action. So let's bring our panelists onto the screen so that they can do some introductions. We have Nora Luke, Alexandria, and Amy Jackson. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to have each of you say a few quick words about who you are and which video platform you are using. And it looks like we're getting Nora back on screen, so we'll just add her in as she becomes available. So Amy, let's kick it off with you. Welcome, Amy. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Julie. I am so excited to be here and I'm learning so much. So Laura and Alyssa, thank you. That was such an incredible insight on TikTok. But I'm Amy Jackson. I am a realtor here in Greater Lansing with Coldwell Banker. And the social platforms, I'm still kind of learning a lot of them. So learning more about TikTok today has been great. But I also use Instagram and Facebook.
And Amy's been using Instagram as we've been talking. So we've got some shout outs to our presenters on Instagram. I love to see it, just more of it kind of in action as we're doing this. Alexandria, let's have you introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandria, and I am a small business owner of my food blog, The Four on Fork, where I'm cooking one meal from every country in the world. So I use Instagram and recently TikTok to kind of promote my recipes and spread awareness of cultures around the world. But I'm really excited to be here and talk to you all. Thank you.
Well, we're so excited to have you. Definitely make note of Alexandria's blog as well as Amy's channels, because you're going to want to see what both of these women are doing. Really cool. I'm a big fan. I want to take this moment to have you, just to invite our audience to go ahead and comment. Let us know. Some of you have commented already. So Kim and Sarah and others who have said hello, thanks for saying hello. Let us know, are you using any of these short form video platforms? Are you loving using them? Are you not? Do you have questions either for Alyssa and Laura or for our other panelists? We'd love to hear from you. So feel free, jump in. This is meant to answer your questions and not just mine. So feel free to join the conversation. Okay, so and also if we get Nora back, I know Nora is actually kind of in vacation mode. So if we can get her live stream back, we'll just add her in as we go. Okay, I want to start off actually with Alexandria, because she was telling us just before we went live with this presentation that she was taking some things that you learned a couple weeks ago, Alexandria, from the presenters as we were kind of having our planning meeting. You took those things and you've actually grown your accounts since that meeting. Tell us about it. What have you done? What's been the big, and what kind of success are you seeing?
Okay. So I had used, I've been using Instagram for a long time, but I kind of have been playing back and forth with TikTok. I used TikTok a year ago and didn't really see any success with it. So I had maybe like 50 videos, 100 followers, nothing was really happening. And so I just kind of quit TikTok for a whole year. I scrolled through and had some enjoyment from watching other people's videos, but I didn't use it for my own business. And after we discussed TikTok, it was 2 weeks ago today. I was like, you want to know what? I need to get back into this. So what I did was I went through and deleted all of my old videos from my profile. So I had still like my 100 followers left over from before, but I only had 2 videos there. I kept my 2 best performing videos so that the algorithm would think that I had better engagement than I actually had from all of my other videos. And I started posting 2 to 3 videos a day. With a different kind of content. So before I was talking to the camera, and now I was doing hands and pans videos for my recipes. So people could just see me making the recipes on camera. And like I said, I posted 2 to 3 videos a day because on TikTok, more is more. So the more you have, the more people you reach, which is good. I've grown my account since then from 100 followers to 7,600 something followers in 2 weeks with 110,000 likes across my page. So I'm excited to see. I'm hoping to get over 10,000 in the next week or so. And that's when you can sign up for the Creator Fund and start getting paid for your videos. So yeah, if there's any more like questions about that, I have some notes of other things
This
I did.
is awesome. Alexandria, congratulations. This is so cool. How many people are on this live right now? I think we can all add you. However many live, we can grow your followers right now.
Thanks. I'm excited. It's so fun too.
So what were some of the things that you started doing? Like, what was maybe one thing that was maybe the biggest change? Because I think, like, as you were talking about having videos that were just kind of like not quite hitting the mark, I think all of us were like, yes, we know what that's like. So what was the biggest change that you made?
So I went through and did an audit kind of all of my old content and scrolled through and saw what got the most likes and what kind of flopped. And for me at the time, the most likes was like 200 likes. Whereas now my highest video has, I think, like 28,000 likes. But I went through and looked at what was getting the most likes, and they were my recipe videos as opposed to what I had been mostly doing, which was like fun facts about the countries. So I kind of took the messaging from that and was like, okay, what people are interested in is the cooking. So I'm going to do more of what's working. So then I started posting. I had a lot of backlogged content from doing reels on Instagram. So I just had all of that stuff set aside, and eventually I'll only do one video a day. But when I had all this extra content, I was trying to grow it as fast as possible. I was just kind of like dumping all of that content into TikTok, and people were finding it really well. And then another thing too is the comments on the TikToks. So when it comes to the advertisements, I totally get turning off the comments because you can't control them at all, and you can't comment back and monitor them and stuff. But with TikTok, what I've noticed is if I'm starting to get the TikToks with sometimes the more controversial comments, not like derogatory, but the ones where people are like having conversations about what's happening in the video. Sometimes they don't agree, but like I try to delete the mean ones and just keep the polite ones. About what's happening in the video. Like if some people think I did the German dish really well, and some person's from a different part of Germany and their grandma didn't make it like that. People have comments like that. The ones where people are like having conversations, the algorithm's picking up that people are interested in that and pushing it to more people. So I do always keep an eye on my comments and just make sure that like everybody's being nice, because TikTok can be a little crazy and I don't want anybody to get like, I just want everybody to be nice in the comments. But as long as there's like, even if there's different opinions happening in there, I always keep them, even if people don't agree with me, because it sparks conversation and it really picks up interest in the video, because the algorithm sees that people are like engaging with that and really interested with it, and then it pushes it out to more people. So I make sure to go in and comment on all of the new comments on my video for as long as I can until it gets like overwhelming, and then I just let other people converse. But I think that like adding comments as they're coming in for the first couple of hours is really helpful too, to keep people engaged, and then make sure TikTok is pushing it forward. So
that's really helpful. Thank you, Alexandria, for sharing that. And I love hearing too that it's not just about the content that you want to make, although that's important too. You have to enjoy the content you're creating, but also what do people want to see? What is it that they're going to tune in for? Amy, I'd like to come to you next and ask you, how do you generate your content ideas?
Well, I'm still kind of a rookie, but really when I started doing the TikTok, it was basically just what I was running into when I was meeting with clients and questions that they had for me right then, that I was just filming them in my car as I left meeting them, or if I'm in my office, just whatever I ran into that I'm answering for my clients is like, this is important. This is stuff that people want to know. And generally I can answer it in 15 seconds. So that's really how I kickstarted all my conversations.
That's a great idea. So kind of like the most asked questions that you get, you then turn around into content, because if your clients are asking you, then chances are other people out there on Instagram or TikTok want to know as well. Yeah. Nora, I want to come to you next. Nora, I'm so glad you could come back. I know we were having maybe some technical, what's a presentation without some virtual presentation without technical difficulties. Nora, why don't you say a few words about your business and then the type of content that you're focusing on online.
Sure. Hi, I'm Nora Luke. I'm the founder of Corporate to Calling. I'm an online business coach helping moms build and launch their business in 6 months. And I'm using Reels. And the reason I chose to use Reels and how I come up with content is, one, it was a newer platform for me. I wasn't really a heavy user of Instagram. And I thought, well, Reels is a great way to, one, share a different side of my personality to connect with my audience and my ideal client. And then kind of similar to what Amy said, just some of the questions that people ask me is how I generate content. I also will, the thoughts that a lot of my ideal client, these women have in their head, but they don't say out loud, I say them out loud in Reels. And I really try to go with the entertaining concept and educating when I'm doing my Reels.
So Nora, when it comes to your content, do you find it helpful to kind of look at the current trends and what songs or what other people are doing? Like, how do you decide, when you're looking at the entertaining factor, how do you decide on your content?
Sure. Some of it's just my mood for the day, like, oh, that sounds fun. Or if I see something that someone else did, it kind of gives me an inspiration. But I've also realized now I'll go through and I'll start to save the audio. So then when I'm going to do the content, and Instagram now will tell me, 10,000 people have made a reel using an audio you saved, or 20,000 people. So I'm like, oh, okay, that means this one is actually becoming more of a trend. I need to get on that audio right now and create a reel around that audio.
I love your strategy, kind of the thought behind that, but I'd love to hear from all three of you. How do you make time for this? Because I imagine some people are listening and thinking like, this sounds like a full-time job in and of itself. Is it?
That's probably why I avoided Reels at first. And then I realized, like anything, there's a learning curve. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And just when you're new and you're starting, just keep it simple. And I love how Alyssa even talked with TikTok, when you think 8 seconds or 15 seconds, that's not very long. So don't look at somebody else that's doing 100 features in their Reel or their TikTok and think you have to do the same thing when you're starting. Just do it simple to get used to it and then grow as you learn. And I'm a big fan of batching. I can tell you right now that I'm on vacation and I was a very bad girl. I didn't batch my content before I left and I'm feeling it now. And if you just think sometimes, okay, 30 minutes, I'm going to dedicate to this, you can actually produce a lot of content in 30 minutes using Reels.
Yeah. Alexandria, what's your approach?
So I might be a little bit different than everybody else on this meeting, just because I have a content-based business instead. So it's a little bit different than like running a service-based business and then making content for that. But with me, when I'm making a recipe, I have to take step-by-step photos in between and then take photos at the end before I can post the recipe on my website. So I just set up my camera at the same time overhead and just take videos that way. And it's not any extra work for me because I'm already making the recipe. So I just kind of build it in. But with people that have like a more service-based business, or if you have like a blog or a podcast or something like that, I would suggest repurposing your old content too. So like taking your best performing pieces of content and making Reels based off of those or TikToks. Before I started doing videos, I obviously didn't have videos for all my content. So I've also been doing that, taking my best performing ones and going back and making Reels for those because I'm more confident that those are going to perform well because I already know that people are liking them. So time is more valuable for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, what about you? What's your approach to content creation?
Well, I think I'm kind of failing at that, actually. I'll go through cycles of really starting to do content and finding things I want to say or things to share or just letting it pop up. And then I'll go like radio silent. So I know how important consistency is. So I'm sure Alyssa, Laura, like, no, keep going. And but like Nora said, just to keep doing it is what sparks me. Being in the service industry, that's, my clients and spending time with them is my focus. So when I think about doing marketing, I kind of put that way to the back burner, but I want to be a help. And so I realized when I put my videos out there and able to educate or just make something funny, but I'm also a little superstitious. So some of the videos that were really good for me when I would show houses or give them tours, I also, if my client wants to buy that house, I didn't want to display the property that we're now competing with or just kind of put any superstition out there that we still have several days until we hear back. So I wanted to kind of protect their privacy and still be a part of it. So I'm still kind of navigating that, but I think if anything in this forum is really teaching me to just keep going. And I love that for anyone who gets overwhelmed when you see Instagram and people whose full-time jobs or, their families' proceeds come from what they're producing. That's not all of our case. Sometimes we just have to focus on what is it I want to do. For me, I want to just empower people in the decision of home buying or home selling. And however I can do that, like Nora said, just taking 10 minutes, taking 30 minutes to do that is definitely more doable than trying to plan a full day.
Absolutely. And you mentioned privacy, which is, of course, really important. We need to consider what the content is that we're promoting, and also how much of us sometimes that we're promoting on the personal side of things. Because do you guys feel like sometimes, especially with video content and these short form platforms, that sometimes kind of that business and personal tends to cross over? People want the behind the scenes look. They want to know what a day in the life is like. Do you ever feel that kind of push pull with the balancing the personal and private?
Yeah, I specifically use stories for the behind the scenes stuff. So I keep my reel I keep my feed, so reels and static posts on Instagram, pretty professional. Those are my recipe posts. Those are my reels on how to make the recipes. Every once in a while, I'll do a photo of me and like talk a little bit about my background. But for behind the scenes, I keep that to stories, and I get good engagement on those. People really like it.
That's a great plan. Okay, we have a question from the audience. Kim says that she has just started using Reels and has views, but few followers. Kim, I know the feeling. How do you recommend that she grows her followers on Reels? Who wants to take that first? Laura, Alyssa, feel free to jump in as well.
I would say one thing I will say, and I saw that question too, obviously we want more followers, and depending on what type of business Kim has or Kimberly has, more followers isn't necessarily always better. There's a lot of times where I will lose followers and then gain followers when I post a reel. And I have to look at that. That's a measure of a successful reel, because with what I do, it's maybe I'm not wanting to attract everybody, and trying to keep that in mind. It's not just to have more followers, it's to have the right type of followers that are liking your content. But at the end of the day, we do want to grow that. So the biggest piece, I think Amy just said it, is that consistency and using your, I call them like your brand pillars and what you want to be known for, and continue to put that out there and over again. Then people will start to want to follow you because they actually know who you are, what you stand for, what you provide, the value you give, and then they will become loyal followers.
Also, Kimberly, if you're getting a lot of views, but not a lot of followers from those views, I would also, if you don't already, put like a call to action at the end. Sometimes it's just as simple as like, follow me for more, or click the follow button. If you have people seeing it, then make sure you're putting a call to action at the end so that they convert into longtime viewers. And if whatever videos are popular, make more of the ones like that too.
That's a great point. And Laura and Alyssa, I wonder if you could jump in as well, because you mentioned call to actions when you're talking through your presentation. We know the CTAs are important. Is this also perhaps, and I know like we all small business owners kind of cringe when we talk about paid advertising versus just the organic, but is this also where perhaps a paid campaign ties into the original content as well? What do you think? How do you actually convert the views into followers?
Yeah, so I definitely think there is an aspect of pay to play within paid social. That doesn't mean that you have to run some very complex, evergreen, always on paid social strategy, but I do think it's important. If you have content that you want to promote to outside of your current followers, Facebook has an easy way to boost posts. TikTok actually just introduced what they're calling Spark ads. And so that is when you can put some paid dollars behind your organic posts. So previously on TikTok, you couldn't promote your organic existing content, and now that's available to advertisers. So I think there's a lot of different options. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. I think it's really individualized on the brand and what you're looking to achieve. But, I always recommend supporting your organic content with a little bit of paid content in tandem to really just help drive those results you're looking for.
Absolutely. And it always goes back to whatever your original goals are too, right? So is it just general brand awareness? Are you looking to actually generate particular leads? Of course, I know our clients probably always cringe when we talk about goal setting, but really like our strategy goes back to what those initial goals are. What is it you're looking to have a reel or a TikTok video actually do for you? Then from there, that helps you define your success. Is it views? Is it followers? How do you continue to grow along along those lines. Ladies, I'd love to hear some of the challenges you've had. Amy, you've been very open with, I think you've started every answer with, well, I don't do that very well, which is not true because you do a lot well with your videos. What has been one of the biggest challenges for you so far, Amy?
Well, I think consistency has definitely been one of the biggest challenges, and just getting outside of myself and being able to just do it. Even if nobody responds to it, nobody likes it, no one responds, that those really don't affect my day. And so just to put it out there, and honestly, when we think of, like, when you said measuring success, I posted one video, one reel, and I had a social media friend who was not a client of mine, but is going through the home buying process, who messaged me and just said how encouraging that was to them, that they were in the middle of a similar situation that I shared, and that really helped them. And that to me was like, okay, that is so enough. So if just one person for me and my goals gets impacted by it, then that to me was a measure of success. So being more consistent, and then knowing that what I am putting out there, if I'm doing it with a pure heart, that it's going to reach who it needs to reach.
Nora, what have been some challenges for you?
I just want to ditto what Amy just said. I think the biggest challenge is feeling like you want to do more. Like for me with the reels, I'm like, oh, I want to add this in, or this fun transition, or this type of thing in. And sometimes I just like, you know what, right now that's great, but we're just going to be simple, and we're going to, complete it and put it out there and move on with my day, and not overanalyze and overthink, especially when you watch yourself on video. A lot of people, that's very uncomfortable to do. So it's just not over criticizing. And I think one of the biggest challenges really is just looking at what everybody else is doing and then fall into that comparison trap. And you just, like Amy said, you just have to know that you're doing it for the person on the other end that's seeing it, and how you're going to help them or inspire them or educate them in some way. And that is some of the best comments that I receive are not public. They are privately sent to me. And that's when I'm like, okay, that was great. Like, I'm glad I did it.
Alexandria, what about you? What are some challenges? Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry. I knew I was going to do that too. I think my biggest challenge with Instagram has been like keeping up with the algorithm changes, because Instagram has kind of been experimenting recently with like what gets promoted and what doesn't. And they changed it a lot in the last year. So where I used to have reach, then during some periods of the year I didn't, until I kind of learned what it was looking for. So that's been kind of challenging, but something good is that Instagram just announced recently that now in their new algorithm, they are prioritizing Reels. So that kind of gave me a very cut and dry direction of where to go now. Reels are king on obviously TikTok, but now Instagram too. So that's something that has been helpful, but also been a challenge over the last year, I'd say.
And that's going to be really challenging for businesses that are using Instagram but not using Reels. I can tell you that we are working right now to kind of migrate a lot of strategies, update a lot of strategies to include Reels, because they are going to be so important in the algorithm changes, or already are, that if you're not using them, so you ladies are already ahead of the game by using them. We have about 5 minutes to wrap up here, and I'd love to, if the audience has any further questions, please jump in. And if you have anything to share, jump in and let us know. Ladies, I want to ask you your biggest piece of advice for people just getting started. And you've already given some really great tips, but what is maybe one thing that you wish you had known, that you know now, but you didn't know, when you first got started? And Alexandria, I'll start with you, because you actually just overhauled your whole TikTok. So I'm sure you've got something that you wish you would have known when you first started.
Yeah, I would just say like done is better than perfect. When I wasn't getting the results I wanted, I just kind of quit after a while, but I wish I would have just done then what I did now. I used all the same information I had a year ago to do what I did now. I just got discouraged and waited a year. And now I'm thinking okay, how much further along could my business be if I had done this a whole year ago? So, I would say just start throwing things at the wall. It doesn't have to be perfect at first, just see what sticks. And as you start to learn what your audience likes, you can evolve with it instead of just thinking that you need to be perfect out of the gate. So.
Great advice. Amy, what about you?
I think it's just being confident in your own voice. there's a lot of what we're hearing when we're on the social platform from other people's thoughts and opinions and their creativity, but just being confident in your own creativity and your own voice and putting out there whatever feels true to you.
Nora?
A practical piece of advice I would say is don't overanalyze the vanity metrics and delete a reel. It might not have performed the way you wanted it to, but deleting it, and there could be a whole algorithm conversation about that, but just move on. Don't delete the reel. Don't overanalyze it. Just learn from it and create different material.
Alyssa and Laura, any parting words for our panelists or for our audience?
I would say, the best thing you guys can do, because you're hearing a lot of conversations about algorithms and what's changing. And I think it's a space, not digital in and of itself, but social for sure, is an ever-changing space. And that can be a lot to keep up with on your own. So finding somebody you trust, whether it be a digital partner or, anybody really, but either finding the time to make sure you're keeping up with that type of information or finding a partner who can kind of help guide you through it is going to be a good thing. Just to make you smarter. We all need those people, right?
Absolutely. Community is always better than doing it on our own. Laura, what about you? Any final parting thoughts?
Yeah, I would say, I know it's always very easy to kind of get sucked into like the latest and greatest and like the new shiny ad products, but I think it's really important to remember who your audience is. Are they spending time on the platform, and is that a fit? Alexandria, I don't think it would make sense for you to run ads on LinkedIn because that is just not the type of content that users are engaging with or interested in when they are browsing on LinkedIn in that more professional mindset. So I think while it is really enticing to hear about all of the new ad products rolling out across all of the platforms from a paid perspective, it's really important to take a step back and think, who is my audience? What do I want them to do? And does this platform ultimately make sense?
Great advice. Thank you so much to all of our panelists and to our presenters. You guys really are doing incredible work. I'm going to ask you after we're done, go onto our Facebook page and share the handles for your accounts. That way we can follow what you're doing on Instagram and on TikTok. And thank you so much for sharing your insights today. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Julie. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is all for this edition of Lansing Marketing Hackers. We'll be back in 2 months with another presentation for you. So watch out for that information coming soon. Thanks again to Symposia Labs, our sponsors for today. Thanks, everyone.